to the global and local inflationary wave, as well as the tapering policy of the U.S. Federal Reserve.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest, His Excellency Ambassador Mohamed Oraby, the former Foreign Minister. A very good afternoon to you, Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, of course, today we will be discussing President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's current Gulf tour, and the President has just been received in the Bahraini capital, and earlier he was in Oman on an official visit as well. Could you tell us a bit about the timing of this visit, Mr. Ambassador?
Yeah, I think the timing is very, I would say, important.
Yes.
The Arab world actually is facing a lot of challenges now, and we have to be ready and to act together in order to face all these challenges. So this kind of discussion is so important to exchange views and also try to put a new vision and strategies together. So I think this tour is so important, and I cannot, of course, ignore what happened in Egypt for the last few weeks. Many Arab also meetings, Arab summits occurred in Egypt. So all these efforts actually in order to have a new vision, a new strategy to face the challenges which is now in, let us say, facing the whole world, not just the Arab world. But we have to be ready to act together and to try to coordinate our efforts and to have, let us say, more momentum in order to face all these kind of challenges, which is now, maybe we can put it that way. We have the energy sector, the food sector, the many things. Actually, I think it will be in a very difficult situation and repercussions of what's going on in Ukraine. And that's why we have to act together and think even together and try to put a new plan in order to face all this kind of new repercussions.
Absolutely. Earlier in the day, of course, the President was in Oman with the Omani leadership, and lots of discussions ensued between the two leaders, and lots of, challenges, as you mentioned, but also a will to cooperate between the two countries on various domains for different horizons in the future, Mr. Ambassador. How important is this in light of the global challenges that you mentioned, sir?
Yeah, I think we have to provide political desire and political will in order to try to build on that by having more coordination in different fields. And I think the economic field is so important now, how to increase the exchange of goods between the Arab countries, how to increase the cooperation to fill the gap of many things, especially in the grains and many other things like this, how to cooperate in the energy sector.
Yes.
So I think we have to be ready to face this new world order. And I think the Arab world has a lot of capabilities and a lot of fields to cover all these problems which is now occurred in the whole world.
Yes, absolutely. Mr. Ambassador, also President Sisi has been meeting with several Arab leaders, as you mentioned, in the lead up to, the American President Joe Biden's visit that will be in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia on the 15th of July, which will bring together leaders of the GCC, in addition, of course, to Egypt, Iraq, Jordan, and the U.S. Tell us a bit about the significance of these preparatory meetings, Mr. Ambassador, before the summit.
Yeah, of course. This is a very important file. We have to pave the way for this new meetings which will occur in Saudi Arabia by the mid of July. So I think we have to have a common stance, common vision between the Arab countries. We cannot just, have a sort of discussion with the leader of USA without having at least a minimum of good positions together. And I think all these discussions which occurred for the last few weeks, I think it is very important in order to pave the way for a new strategy and also to be ready to discuss with the leader of USA the events which is now have a lot of, I would say, heavy clouds on the political scenes in our region.
Absolutely. Mr. Ambassador, let me ask you, how important is it, that the recent Arab talks and with all these meetings between Arab leaders, that they coordinate a common Arab vision and a common vision and stance to be presented to the U.S. President, based on their national interests, Arab interests, as well as their relations with the United States, all in light of the global challenges that we're currently witnessing?
Yes, we should admit that we had, let us say, a sort of misunderstanding between some Arab countries and the United States for the last, I would say, year or so. So, if the United States wants to have a new page with the Arab world, I think this might be a good thing for both sides, I mean, the Arab world and USA also. But in the meantime, we have to be careful and try to have a sort of balance in our approach with this new visit in order to maintain our interests with the rest of the world. I mean, Russia, China, and all the big powers, which is now in our new world order. So I think the Arab world should be ready to face all these new circumstances. And in the meantime, I think this kind of discussion between the leaders is so important, and I think this might have a sort of good position in order to be discussed with the President of the United States in his new approach to the region in the middle of July.
Indeed. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Your Excellency Ambassador Mohamed Oraby, former Foreign Minister. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and your insight and for joining us on today's edition of Cairo Local Time. Ladies and gentlemen, another short break and we'll be right back to continue our episode. Do stay tuned.